literally 5 minutes before the fight started, we ran a play. We ran like a toss play, and I pulled out to the right, and TJ McDonald was blitzing off the edge, and he hit the blitz like right on the snap. Dude, I had this stinger, like both my arms were numb. So I was in the training room, like getting my neck checked
Mhm.
out, like my arms, and then Dez came running in like hot. He's throwing his helmet, throwing his pads, and our trainers were like running in. They're like, it's mayhem out there.
Welcome to the Greenlight Podcast presented by BetMGM. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code Greenlight and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code Greenlight. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. If that bet loses, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just make sure you use bonus code Greenlight when you sign up. How do I put this into perspective? This guy was so good that he had more Pro Bowls and holding penalties, and guys used to fight over who had to rush over him. Zack Martin joins the show. What's up, Zach? Congrats on
What's
retirement.
what's up, man? I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, what a pleasure! And how you feel? Like, are you excited? Are you kind of waiting to see what the fall feels like? Like, what's it feel like to actually pull the trigger and say I'm done?
Yeah, dude, honestly, I feel really good right now. Like, I feel great with my decision. I think, the last couple of years were tough for me, just physically, mentally, kind of getting older, kind of starting to slip a little bit, and you got to wrap your mind around how you change your game. And, the body started feeling not great. So, I kind of had a feeling, during the season that this was probably it. My contract was up. So, um, yeah, I feel good. Like I've started losing a few pounds already, so my joints starting to feel pretty good.
Here we
And
go.
I'm sure when training camp starts, that'll be tough. But right now, I'm not missing. New coach, new staff. They start OTAs next week, so I'm not missing that.
I don't know, man. I remember training camp being like the best time because I was like, oh, what do I have to do today? It's July.
Yeah, yeah. You got your
Anyway,
schedule.
like during the summer, you can't really enjoy it like everybody else. Like you'll be
Yeah,
somewhere and
right.
everybody will be like, man, this having a great time. And you're thinking about, you got that little dark cloud over your head.
Yeah, my cutoff was always the 4th of July. After
Yes.
the 4th, it was like moods in the dumper every morning. The wife starts asking what's wrong. It's like, dude, I got camp in a couple
You
weeks.
know what's wrong.
I'm gearing up. You know what I mean? Get my mind right.
What's the least favorite part of camp that you're going to be watching on NFL Network and be like, hell yeah, I'm glad I'm not doing that?
I think just like the 2 or 3 weeks into it, like everyone's excited to start camp. You get the competition back rolling, and then after a couple weeks, you're just like, dude, screw this. And we don't play the way we did it the last few years. We didn't play in the preseason,
Yeah.
so it's like you're only going against the same guys every day until the season ramps up. So I'm not going to miss like the week 2 and 3, but reporting and kind of getting everything settled and getting going. That's something I'll definitely miss.
I was reading your Players Tribune thing, and I thought it was really well done. First off, I think your kid sounds hilarious.
Yeah, no, he loves him some CD.
Love CD Lamb.
Loves CD.
Shot you straight. How many kids you got? You got 3? Did I see that?
I got 3. Yeah, I got 3.
That's a good number. It's any more would be too much. Just speaking from experience.
Yeah, we're kind of on the line. We're trying to figure out if we're gonna have another one, but we got 2 boys and a girl, so we're good right now for a little bit at least.
How much like was there any intent behind it? And like for me at least, I was really glad that my kids were very young when I got out of the league so that I could spend more
Yeah.
time with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I will say though, it was cool this year. My oldest, Charlie, he's 6, and like this was the first year he kind of started like really getting into it and watching the games and asking me questions. And when he would go to the games, like my wife would tell me, like he watched the game, he was locked in. So like that part was cool for him to be able to experience that and remember that. My other 2 are obviously a little bit younger, so yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to spending time with them, but I'm not sure how much they'll remember of this.
Well, and you said in the article that at one point you didn't have your best day at the office.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still probably a pretty good day, but he was like he was calling you on it when you got.
Dude, we played Detroit this year. It was like it was when Detroit was I mean, Hutchinson got hurt in that game, so they were at like full power when we played them, and they just kicked the shit out of us
Yeah.
and up front really. And I was like, last couple of years, like after a lot, you know how it is, like after a loss, you like, it's like a day or something, but then you kind of get over it and you're on to the
Yeah.
next week. For whatever reason, that one like stuck with me, and I was like in the dumper for a couple of days, and he was letting me have it.
It's good to have somebody at home that can give it, give you some shit and give
Yeah.
you honest truth. Well, like, was that kind of at that point, say you had a game like that, had you kind of planned this out, or like when did you know it was time? Because I feel like everybody knows whether they say it outright or not, like you have a feeling, or maybe it was, cumulative over the past couple of
Yeah.
years.
Well, I had thought about it last year a little bit, which I feel like once you kind of start thinking about it, it's hard to really flip the script. But then I was kind of like, man, I got one more year. Like we should be pretty good coming back. Like I'm going to give it one more, and I'm going to finish out my contract strong. And so I had a pretty good idea going into this year that it was probably going to be the last one. And then I got like, body wise, I knew that like it'd be tough to make it through another season, but I'm gonna give it a try, and that would probably be it. So, I played 10 games. I missed the last seven. I had ankle surgery, but I knew it was time, man. Mentally, physically, I was ready for it to be done. To be honest with you.
Yeah, what was it mostly? I mean, I know you had the ankle this year, but like when you talked about over the last like 3-4 years,
Yeah,
feeling like what being a human is actually like,
yeah.
and aging a little bit and being like, shit, man, this is actually getting hard. What were the things that were tough for you, and then how were you adjusting your game, as you alluded to?
Yeah, well, I think, well, as far as like mentally, like we had such a tight group in Dallas my first like 6 or 7 years, like a bunch of core guys that, I'm still really close with. And those guys started to like slowly trickle away. And it was like, there was like a 3 year stretch where like, say I had 6 or 7 of my guys on the team. After that 3 year stretch, everyone was gone. Everyone was gone. And it was just kind of getting used to, I'm the older guy. I'm the guy everyone's looking to, but it's kind of trying to find a way to dive back into the team. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I was so into it my first 6 or 7 years. Like that's all I did was football and
yeah.
just the group we had in Dallas. Like we just had a great nucleus there. So that was tough. Like having my buddies leave and trying to kind of restart with the young guys, which I did, and they're great guys and I love them and great teammates. But you know what it is when you come in and those like guys that you're with the first like 4 or 5 years, it's tough to replicate that throughout your whole career.
Well,
Um,
it's funny because like when I was old and I was in Philly, like
yeah,
Lane was like my little brother, and
yeah, yeah,
he used to be like, call me old and all this shit. And then he texted me a year or two ago. I was like, I see what you mean, man. He's like,
yeah. It's just
they're all
different. Like it's
gone.
just
Like,
right. Like
I,
you don't
I
like
love the new guys, but they're like all the guys I came up with are
right.
all
The guys
one
you're
by
spending
one.
time with outside of the building, their
Yeah.
families, their wives, their kids, and just like the people you really grew up with in the league.
Yeah.
So that was tough for me. And then I think just like being so close, like a few of those years, like we were, in my opinion, like I thought we had a team that could make a run and have a chance at it. And when those couple years slip away and then you see things start to change and you're like, damn, did I miss my window when I was there? And
Right.
I thought I'd give it one more go, and then obviously this season didn't go as planned. And it was just time, dude. It's like people say like you'll know when you're done, and I knew 100% I was done.
That's 100% true. And it's hard to know what
Yeah.
that means until you know.
Right.
And
Yeah,
no,
because I was the classic like young guy, like dude, full of piss and vinegar. Like I'm playing till my legs fall off. Like
yeah,
I'm not gonna. And then you get to a point you're like, all right, it's been a good run, but it's time.
no question. And like can definitely identify with what you talk about coming in the league and having like good vets around you. You came into
Yeah.
a
Oh,
really
dude,
good
our
group,
vets when I
and
got there,
yeah,
the vets were unbelievable. I mean, we had Witten and Sean Lee and Romo and those guys. Those guys were great. And those were some of the most fun years too, because you're young and you don't know what the hell's going on. You're just playing ball, and you're happy because you're within the crew of these veterans. And um, yeah, so those first few years definitely were fun for me.
who were you guys up front? I know Frederick was there, and
Yeah, me, and then I came into an O line room that like we had Trav, obviously Tyron,
yeah,
um, Doug Free was our right tackle my first few years in there, and he was
Doug,
like a huge help to me. It was awesome having a veteran next to
yeah.
you, and then Ron Leary, Lyle Collins, like we had a squad there. Obviously those first few years I was there.
Was it hard watching the way Travis's retirement went? Because he was, I mean, when you read
Yeah.
his Wikipedia, just as a dumb, like, kind of aside,
Yeah.
like it goes, Frederick made his fifth Pro Bowl,
Yeah.
at 29, and then the next line is Frederick retires at 30. And,
Yeah.
like how hard was that to see, a mentor
What?
of yours kind of go out that way?
Yeah, it was tough because we came in back to back years. Like we were the first round picks back to back years, and we were the same. I stayed 5 years in college, so we were the same age, same
Yeah, so he's an
same
eyeball.
class coming out. So like we were like best friend. We're best friends. Like he was the guy I was playing next to. We played really well together. That was really kind of the moment where, in my opinion, our line kind of started to change. Like when Trav left, because you know how it is when you have a core guy at center
Yeah.
who's a dominant player who's you take him for granted. That's for sure. I took him for granted. Like I remember that training camp the next year, and nothing against the guys we had, but like even just the like operation at the line of scrimmage, you're like, damn, this was never that hard. Like this was always just very like, all right, here it is, let's go. So that was tough and definitely a blow to kind of our line when he left, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, the Kelsey situation, it reminds me of like they were
Yeah,
able to stabilize because the group was so good around him.
yeah.
And but like there were adjustments where you realize, oh shit, this guy was calling out all the protections.
Everything. And he didn't miss games. Like
Yeah.
those games, I think the only games he missed were the games that he missed that year that he was sick.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the only games he ever missed in his career. So he was always on the field. He was always healthy, tough as nails, smart. Like he just everything you
Yeah.
want.
So I've already mentioned, but the best tackle I played with was Lane. In my
Yeah.
opinion, at the time
Yeah.
I played with him, he was absolutely dominant. And when people ask me about him, I always point to like a game or an anecdote, and I'm like, I remember when he blocked Von Miller like all game. Like it
Yeah.
was boring.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it look so boring. Tyron Smith in his prime was boring
Yeah.
good like that. Like, are there
Yeah.
moments that you remember watching him on tape playing a certain person or something he did and being like, yeah, this guy is like rare?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first got in the league, like I was just like, you look at him, he's 315 pounds with a six pack with arms down to his ankles. Like he's just a freakazoid.
Built like a
And
V.
yeah, built like a V. Like I saw him yesterday actually, and he looked like he played defensive end.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Yeah.
but like when I got in, we played some good guys. I mean, I remember we played the Rams, Robert Quinn and him. That was when Robert Quinn was like
Yeah.
rolling, and I remember that game. Like you just could kind of delete that guy from the game. Honestly, those first few years I played with Tyron for sure when he was healthy,
Yeah.
kind of before he got bit by the injury bug. That like 14, 15, 16. He was as good as it gets, in my opinion. And in our division, we obviously had him, Trent, Peters was still rolling, and then Lane was coming up. So we had, probably the top four tackles in the whole league in our division.
Yeah. It's
Um,
unbelievable.
so it was cool to like kind of, you know, it's natural for you to watch other good guys around the league and kind of compare. So we were always watching this tape of these elite left tackles, and
Yeah.
it was cool to kind of see Tyron stack up. And in my opinion, those few years he was as good as it gets.
No question. The funny story that I read, and I didn't know this story, was second year, you go to the Pro Bowl and Jon Gruden and you have a
Yeah,
conversation that changed your career. Can you tell our listeners what that
yeah.
conversation was?
Dude, it's so funny because I was talking to. So I went to the 2015 was cool because my brother-in-law is Tyler Eifert,
Yeah.
who's tight end of the
He
Bengals.
was a
So and
stud.
that was the year he made the Pro Bowl. So
Right.
we both went out there, and it was also the only year that the Pro Bowl was in Hawaii during my career. So we took a big group out there, and one day, like we were just sitting in the pool. We had a bunch of guys sitting in the pool drinking. And Gruden comes up and starts talking smack to everyone. And me and Eifert, we're like the two young guys in the pool. We're in our second year, and he just starts going in on us, talking about how Tyler, can't catch the ball in the primetime games. And I looked it up because I was curious because I was thinking about that story. And like,
Mhm.
I had the most penalties in my career that year,
Right.
in 2015.
Right.
I think I had like 5 or 6 penalties, and he was going in on me about holding and you get too many holding calls. And I had Bill Callahan, who he had coached with Callahan, just,
Yeah.
I'm going to get on
Yeah.
Callahan's ass because, you hold too much. You hold too much. And, I think I had like three holding calls or 4 holding calls after that year.
What'd you
So
do? You were just like, oh shit, I didn't know I was doing that. Like, let me just fix that. Or was there something that you were doing in your game that you had to adjust from like a technique standpoint?
I didn't even really know that was, I mean, I knew I wasn't getting penalized very much. And then, a few years ago, that stat came out. I just think I have a pretty good understanding of like what a hold is and like when it can potentially be called. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I know if I'm in a bad spot and like the D lineman starts pulling away, I'm just gonna let go. Like
Yeah.
it's not worth holding. And then if you got an understanding of where the play's going, you can kind of get away with. I'm not saying I don't hold. I hold all the time.
You all do. You guys all do. You get away with it, but I mean, you
Right.
hold less than anybody because, I guess three since you said it was three after you talked to Jon Gruden. Do you remember your holding calls? Because if
I
you have
know
so few,
I have one that I know for sure that I was pissed about at the time, and I've seen it since, and I still don't think it's a holding. We played a game in Pittsburgh in 2016, like down to the wire,
yeah.
and it was on Shazier. We were running duo, and he like fired in the A gap, and I kind of gulfed him up, and they got me for a hold, but he dove at the last second. So that one sticks with me, but the rest of them, no, not
The,
really.
the 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 other couple, yeah. And so you
Yeah,
say you know what a hold is, you know what a catch is too, don't you?
yeah, I do.
So that was your rookie year with Dez.
That that was my rookie season. Yeah.
What can you take me down on the field, like, as this is all going down? Because I'll never forget watching on TV and being like, "Surely."
Dude, people ask me, I'm just like, again, like back to my rookie year, like I was just a young dude. Like I was playing well, but like I didn't have a worry in the world, but like doing my job and nothing else. So like looking back now, I didn't realize how big of a deal like that whole thing was.
Oh,
And I never made it past the divisional round. So that was the furthest I ever made it in the playoffs. And at the time you're like, oh yeah, we got all these guys coming back. We'll make a run at it.
yeah,
Um, so like at the time I wasn't as like, I guess I just wasn't like aware enough
right,
to be like that devastated over it.
right. You think you're going
But
back a lot. You're
now
like,
looking back on it, it's like, damn, if we would have won that, we played Seattle. We already beat Seattle that year in Seattle, and then who knows what could happen. So, um, that could have been our best chance when I was there to make a run at it. But
and then
um,
wasn't that when the Packers got lucky then, or no, the Seahawks got lucky the next game,
no, the Seahawks or the Packers should have beat. They were killing
dropped the
the
onside kick.
Seahawks up there, and they ran that fake field goal. And
Seahawks,
then Seahawks, and then that was the year that New England, the Butler pick
luckiest
year.
team in the NFL,
Yeah,
Seahawks, bro.
yeah.
Everything. Well, just playing in division, I kind of hated them. Who did you hate the most in your division? Did you hate the Eagles? Like,
Philly by far, not
so
even
it's not even
close,
close.
not even close, not even
What do
close.
you
And
hate
I think
about the Eagles? Because there's a lot
I
of
think it,
Eagles fans listening because it's kind of a Philly pod.
yeah,
Tell them what you hate about them if you can.
dude. I like it's like I hate them by far, like my least favorite team. But like I also loved playing Philly. I loved playing in Philly. It's my favorite away stadium by far, not even close. Great grass, and we play
Grass.
there Sunday. We play there Sunday night. Every time we played there, it was a Sunday night or it was the prime time afternoon game. So like it was always great atmosphere. We always had good games. And that was like when I was in Dallas, like that was by far our biggest rivalry. Like, I would say we majority of the time we beat Washington and New York over the last 10 years. Where Philly, it was always like, who's it going to be, Dallas or Philly? The thing that pisses me off about Philly the most, bro, honestly, is like they have two Super Bowls since I've been playing it. And I'm like, dude, we've had teams that are as good, if not at
Yeah.
like, that's what bugs me about it. It's like they found a way to put it together and win a couple Super Bowls, and we've shit down our leg and lost in the divisional round.
Listen, like, I'll give you this. Our 17 team was good, but like we caught
Yeah,
lightning in a bottle. Like we just had
yeah,
it. We had it. Whatever that
right.
is, we just had it. But this team this year,
This
like,
team this year was
yeah.
they were really good,
People ask
really
me like,
good.
what would happen if we played them? I'm like, I don't know how we stop Saquon Barkley. Like, let's
Yeah.
stop there. Let's start right there. Like, I don't even know. That
Well,
team was so good.
yeah, with the combination they had this year with the run game, the line, and
Yeah,
then defensively, I thought defensively they were, always Philly. You guys have always had the pass rush.
yeah.
That's never been a question. But as far as everything else, I just feel like they solidified everything
Well, they
else and
filled
kind
in
of
the
put it all together.
linebackers, and then they
Yeah,
draft
yeah,
Kenyon Mitchell and
yeah.
DeJean, and you're like, okay, well, rush and coverage work together. How was the battles with Fletcher?
I mean, that's like my. I feel like everyone has like kind of like a rival in like the league if you play for like a certain amount of time, and like Fletcher is that guy for me for sure. Like not even close. Like Donald obviously was like the boogeyman for everybody,
Yeah,
but like Fletcher twice a year for I think after my second year is when Schwartz got there and when he was stuck on defensive left, defensive tackle, every snap, he didn't move. Um, so it was me and him like 75 plays a game for like 8 straight years.
Just collisions.
So yeah, and it's cool now. Like I got a ton of respect for him because like I remember those weeks playing. I'm like those were the weeks where you put the extra time in. You're constantly thinking about your game plan against them. And last year I got to. I mean, I've obviously talked to him throughout our career, but last year I went out to his ranch down here in
Oh,
Texas and
did
hung out
you?
with him for a little. Yeah, he invited me out there and kicked it with him for a couple of days out there, which was cool. Like he just retired.
Yeah,
Um, Kind of talked about like my future, but it was cool to kind of just chill with him after going at it for so many
he
years.
is the man. I love him.
Yeah, he's great, dude.
And he
He's
made it easy on the guy, which was me, lining up next to him because he
yeah,
was such a classic. Like he was going to be in the right place. Like he's old school. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
he was going to jet the B gap, and
yeah,
either that or it was going to be power. And if he was going to win, he was going to win inside. He was going to do it quick, so you knew I could rush
yeah,
off you that way. But like he was just a real professional. You know what I mean?
yeah. He was just, dude. He's a stud. Like he's an absolute stud. But I do when I think back in my career, like I always think about like my matchups with him, like for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. How about the new guy, Jalen Carter? I think he's incredible
I
and has a
mean,
chance to be incredible.
yeah, classic. Like you get an all-time great three technique, and then when he retires, Carter falls in their laps perfectly.
Yeah,
No, yeah, he's a problem. He's going to be a problem for a long time. You could tell, like his first year, like last year, he was still kind of splitting reps, and like he just didn't have the reps to like really get like polished up.
yeah.
And then this year was like completely different story. Like um, I'm trying to think around the league. Like I would say, he's as good as it gets as a young defensive lineman for sure. He can beat you in a bunch of different
Oh,
ways.
no question. He's like Gumby. Like
Yeah.
he's totally different than Fletch. Like they're totally different
Oh
people.
yeah. Yeah.
But
100%.
does it get harder in the NFL? Like, and I guess this was kind of around the time because we all started rotating a lot more. Like around 2010 is when I feel like it became more of a rotation league.
Yeah.
And so, did you ever find it hard to see one guy and a guy who was a total change of pace throughout the game?
Yeah.
Was it tough to make big
Yeah.
adjustments?
Dude, the best example of that is the Williams, the one who just signed in New England from
Yeah,
Philly.
yeah, Milton.
Uh, Milton, like for a couple of years there, he was the changeup guy. So
Yeah,
like when they had Fletch and Hargraves,
yep,
you had those hammers coming at you, just jetting up the field nonstop, and then Milton would come in and hit you with kind of the Gumby arm overs, and so yeah, when you get a guy who especially when you play a guy like Fletcher, who's like power, power, power. You're thinking about your anchor all day, and then you get a guy who hits you with a little finesse when
yeah,
you're thinking about sitting on power all day. It can be difficult. I think the biggest difference in the D line is like when I first got in, every team had a guy, at least one guy, but now every team's got like three or four dudes who can win one on one
yeah,
consistently. And like you said, the rotation. I mean, you're on a long drive, and then they bring in these fresh dudes. And like last year in Philly, their fresh dude was Jalen Carter. So it's
yeah.
like, all right, Fletcher, 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 and then Jalen Carter for 5 snaps.
No
So
question.
that position, in my opinion, has been the biggest like evolution since I've been playing.
Did Brandon Graham ever talk shit to you, or did he know better?
No, he talks shit all the time.
He just does.
All no, all game. I remember we were playing there in 2020. Terrence Steele, our right tackle now, he was a rookie.
Yeah,
And he was an undrafted rookie in 2020, and we had all these injuries. So, we had like 2 weeks of training camp, and then it was like, hey, dude, you're starting right tackle this year.
yeah.
And we played Philly night game in Philly. Like, I don't even know, I don't think there was a crowd, but
Well,
he was
it
in
was
his
COVID.
ass. Yeah, it was COVID. Graham was in his ass all night. I mean, he was every time we played him. He didn't stop talking.
No, he does not. He does not stop
No.
talking. I don't know if you remember that.
But he's not an ass. He's not an asshole, really. Like
Oh,
he's not a dick about it. He's just talking like good smack. He's
it's
not
good,
like,
clean, G-rated
yeah,
smack. It's
yeah,
like movie
yeah,
smack.
yeah.
You know,
It's like I've been watching you on film. Like you better play. I've been watching you. I've been watching you on tape.
cool.
You got no chance.
Yeah, I've been watching you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we played y'all, and I guess it was 17. You remember the game at y'all stadium where it was like really close
Oh
to
yeah.
the end, like OT?
Wait, at our stadium?
Yeah, it was at y'all stadium, and y'all had some like crazy fourth down catch, and like, anyways, me and Brandon Graham were standing over. Who was the right tackle? Lyle Collins. Till the ball was snapped because we were arguing over who had to rush over Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
Like the ball snapped, and I think I lost the game of chicken and was like running over to right end when the ball snapped. Like, yeah, I
You just
just,
kind of elbow brace right to the side of the helmet.
dude, pretty much he was so fucking good. Y'all had such a good group. And I love playing Collins too, because he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he's dog.
He was
Like
a
he's just
dog.
like he played better. Like I remember one year we were playing in Oakland. I think it was 17-2. It was when Khalil Mack was like rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's first snap and he starts talking shit to him. And I'm like,
What are you
dude,
doing, bro?
like third down, he gets in a 4-eye sometimes. Like, shut up, you know?
Yeah.
But he was like one of those guys that played better. Like when he was
Yeah.
talking shit, he played better. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I just
some
saw
guys
him
are
at a
like that.
casino a couple months ago, and we dapped
Oh
up,
yeah.
and he was like, bro, it was all love. He was the
Yeah.
nicest guy.
Oh, he's the
But
best.
on the
He's the best.
field, you were like, he wants to kill me, you know?
Yeah.
So
That was his superpower. Yeah.
yeah, it was a superpower. So I just wanted to like pretend I'm a young guard, and you've come back to coach, for the Cowboys or something. It's just total fantasy land. But I'm gonna say a player's name, and you tell me what it's gonna take to block the guy. Okay,
That's,
JJ Watt. I got to block JJ Watt this week. What's that gonna be like, Zach?
you can't lean on him ever. You got to keep your head out of it. I'd say that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
You got to get your hands on and then get ready for late power. But number one, keep your head back because if you lunge at him, he's going to swim you and you're going to look stupid.
Right. Yeah, he was a big like if you anchored and ducked, and then also
Uh,
like hope he doesn't pick you because he could go. He was just. I feel
yeah.
like they just told him like line up wherever.
And he was the king of like the backside four technique, like outside swim on the tackle, make a play in the backfield, like stuff like that. I'm kind of definitely freelance work, but like it's got you in your mind in a pretzel because you're second guessing how if you're going to fire off,
Yeah,
try to, you know.
but that's
So
the truth. He'd get in a 4-eye with his inside hand down,
yeah,
take a
yeah,
jab, step into the B, and
yeah,
then
and
the
then swim
tackle's
over.
coming down, swim over. I mean, it was like
Yeah,
peeling bananas for him. All right,
yeah,
so how about Aaron Donald? You called him the boogeyman.
yeah.
Is it just like good luck, kid, or what? What are you gonna do?
It's make sure that slide's coming your way. If it's not, you fucking bark until it does.
If the slide doesn't come your way, like that's a mistake by the coordinator. Yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. We used to have these arguments all the time. And like McCarthy, when he got in there in 2020, he had like we had like a star rule where there was only like a few guys, but we had star protection where like no matter he would just call star like no matter what the defense was like we're sliding to that guy no matter what. Early in my career, like we didn't have that. I don't know if like the coaches were just like, oh, we're just gonna have you go up 1-on-1 and see how you do or whatever. But we adjusted that as our careers went on and got to slide to them. But yeah, that was like going to game week star. No matter what they're doing defensively, get someone over to them.
do you know he weighed
There's
258? He told me the Super Bowl year.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't make you feel great,
No,
because
dude,
I was
especially because I'm like 255.
because I'm like I got 65 pounds on him. Okay, yeah,
It's crazy. Was he the
yeah, he
pound for
was.
pound the strongest guy you ever played?
Yeah, not even. I mean, dude, he and this is not taking away from anyone else in the league, but like when people talk to him, I know I'm not obviously didn't play in those eras and it's era to era, but like it's hard for me to think that there's a defensive player that was ever better than this guy.
You're
Um,
preaching the choir.
yeah, I mean, he just like he and I tell this all the time. I tell my wife this. I remember we were playing him one year, and I was like, I've never I've never like sweated like a dude really going into a game. Like I knew it would be a hard game. Like, oh, this would be a tough game. I'm gonna have to play my best. Like, blah blah blah. But when you play him, like those were definitely the weeks where it was like you're thinking about him the entire
Yeah,
week.
like trying to go to
You know,
sleep.
like you run a play in practice, like where you may not have the slide, or you get a, like you don't get a double team on him, and you're just like, hold on, what's going on here?
Hmm.
What are we running this play in the game plan? Is this play in? So he's the one guy I would say that like keeps you up at night when you're getting ready to play him.
Because it was like the thing about him is he was like a total option rusher. Like,
But he could just make you look stupid like any way he really wanted to.
yeah,
Like if you fired out at him, if you think, oh, I'm gonna get on him quick and fire out at him, he'll just hit you with a quick move and it'll be past you. If you sit back on him, he'll just stutter bully you and I mean he'll plant you on your back.
yeah, no
And then
question.
you're on his highlight tape. So
Yeah.
um can just make you look bad in a lot of different ways.
Did anybody ever make you look bad that's not well known that you want to take a minute to be like, hey, congrats, that was a good rush?
Um Yeah, for sure. Let me think here. I mean, there's definitely guys. Um,
What's the worst rep of your career?
Dude, I got beat up by Detroit this year. McNeil got after me pretty good this year
Yeah,
when we played Detroit.
but he's good though.
I
I think he's
I thought he was, yeah, he was good. He's really good.
yeah.
He got hurt right after we played him too. Dude, I don't know off
That
the top of my
Detroit
head. I'd have to
game,
think about it.
you're like that Detroit game sounded bad, bro. I'm like,
Dude, it was like, well, because it was kind of, I don't know where we at in the year. Like we obviously we weren't doing well, but they were kind of like the team, and it was like, we put a bunch of got those weeks where everyone's kind of hyping up for the game, and then like we just lay this egg. I mean, they just
yeah,
beat the hell out of us
yeah.
on both sides of the ball. So
Was Gino Atkins in the league
yeah.
when you were in the league?
Yeah, I played against him. I would say I played against him once when he was like rolling,
Yeah, yeah,
and that was that we played him in 2016, which was like probably our best, probably my best season, like our best year, like up front. And like when you play, sometimes when you play those out of division like games where you don't play against someone a lot, like I don't ever really remember like going against him all that much. I think we
yeah,
ran the shit out of the ball, and
yeah.
like I don't remember ever being in like a bunch of third down like one on one
No
reps
question.
versus him.
But were there games where like when you had Zeke and you were rolling, where you guys were campaigning against a good team that could rush well? Not that you couldn't block, but like,
Yeah.
hey, let's just run the damn ball. Is that kind of what's going on in an offensive
Yeah,
environment?
like I remember we played Green Bay in 2016 up in Green Bay, and they were really good that year, and we beat them bad. Like I think Zeke had like 220 on the ground, and they could rush. They had Clay Matthews, Mike Daniels was rolling. They had Perry. Like they could rush.
Yeah,
Kenny Clark, young Kenny Clark, and we played him in the playoffs that year, and we got behind, and we had to throw it.
yeah,
And you know those games, you realize you're like, damn,
no
dude, I wish we
question.
could just hand it to 21, 25
No
times
question.
today. Um,
Here's the flip side of the question, Coach Zach. If now that you're retired and secret's safe, how do you beat Zack Martin? What
I
weakness did you have that you knew about that maybe other people you obviously weren't going to talk about it?
I always hated the if someone could get a really good like up and out move, like jab me inside really hard because I played pretty top heavy.
Yeah,
Like I kind of was like a headbutt guy.
yeah,
Like I always like kind of get my head on them and
mhm.
then kind of snap into it. So if someone could get me on like a little stutter inside and they could get me going a little bit and then work back outside, that would be the move I would tell someone
A
to do
bunch of
against
people
me.
are kicking themselves right now. I'm so proud of that. All right, so guard market's blowing up.
Yeah.
$20 million a year, some guys are making.
Oh
Any
yeah.
part of you like, damn, born a little too soon?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. You see it, and guys like I mean like Trey Smith would have probably broken the bank. He got franchised, but if he had gone to the open market, I mean, offensive guard will be pushing 25 million here in the next year or so, which is crazy. Um, but I did all right, and
You did great. You did great.
I I held out a little bit the last 2 years ago and got a little extra something there at the end of my career, which was good.
Was the holdout you held out? Was the holdout weird?
Yeah.
Like, was it weird to hold out? Because you're not like a guy that I think of as like,
No, I
you-
remember, dude, I was sitting in my yeah, it was really weird to answer your question, but I
yeah,
remember sitting in my like during training camp, my mother-in-law was down here with me and my wife, and we were like sitting around talking one night, and it was the middle of camp, like all my boys are out there practicing, and I just like looked around and was like, I'm a holdout guy. Like I'm a holdout guy.
I'm that
You
guy,
know,
dude.
like
I'm To. I'm like,
yeah.
like we used
Yeah.
to grow up and watch guys holding out, and I'd be like, I would never. But
Oh, never, dude. I hate like I like yeah, it sucked. It sucked.
but you got they took care of you. That's good.
Yeah, they took care of me and it worked, and like
Yeah,
it was one of those things that it would not have happened if I had not done that.
yeah.
Like, and I was pretty aware of that. Where I was like age wise in my contract, where the team was like financially and everything, like it was not going to happen unless I did that. So, you know, I had to do it.
When you'd run into like Jerry, not that you would because you were probably not in the building, but like,
Yeah.
would Jerry be like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" Or was Jerry the type that would let the agents handle?
No, no, he just lets it simmer. He like loves it.
Yeah,
Like we went. I remember McCarthy called me one night and was like, "How's it going?" this is during camp. And I'm like, I haven't talked to him in like 2 weeks. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I have not spoken to them for 2 weeks. I have no idea. I have not spoken to them. And he's like, what do you mean you haven't talked to him? So he definitely loves playing the game. And uh, luckily, when they played the first preseason game in Dallas, and he stayed back, and like I went in and met with him the next day, like in Dallas. He came back from California, and then a few days later, I was flying out there.
Like worse than getting the silent treatment from your wife. I don't know if it's worse, but it sounds
Dude,
like
it
about
drives you
the same thing.
insane. And like for the first, I didn't think it was going to last that long.
Yeah.
So like I told him, we go to Indiana for the summer. So like my wife and kids are up there, and I'm like, I'm just going to fly to Dallas. Like hopefully it'll only be a couple days, and then I'll fly to California. So don't worry about it. So then it ends up going like 2.5 weeks, and like into the second week, I like call my wife. I'm like, I don't really think this is going to happen anytime soon. You guys might want to head down here. I'm getting kind of lonely.
Yeah. That's so damn funny, man. I
Yeah.
could never imagine. So it just hit me. Was 14 your rookie year? 14?
Yeah. 14.
Do you remember when we all got in a big fight in Oxnard?
Oh
The
yeah.
Rams and the
Yeah.
Cowboys?
I think that was the next, was that 15?
It was
Or
maybe
was that
15. It
14?
was 15. Yeah, because I was going
Yeah.
all IR. Yeah. So all I remember was like the fight started, and for people, obviously Zach knows this, but for people listening, like it was a 3-field fight. It was like there were dudes
Yeah.
running, and I didn't even know who to hit. There were it felt like running through a medieval battle, and like you
Dude,
didn't even know
okay,
who to
so I have a
attack.
funny story about this because
Yeah.
I wasn't, so I missed it
Oh, you took the
because
day off.
literally 5 minutes before the fight started, we ran a play, we ran like a toss play, and I pulled out to the right, and TJ McDonald was blitzing off the edge, and he hit the blitz like right on the snap. Dude, I had this stinger, like both my arms were numb. So I was in the training room, like getting my neck checked
Mhm.
out, like my arms, and then Dez came running in like hot. He's throwing his helmet, throwing his pads, and our trainers were like running in. They're like, it's mayhem
Oh,
out
it's
there.
mayhem,
So
bro.
I missed it. I mean, obviously I saw the videos and I was talking to all the guys, but literally 5 minutes before that, TJ McDonald smoked me off the edge, and I was under the
Yo,
tent getting
TJ
my
could
neck checked
really
out.
hit, man. But like, I'll never forget. We were on the fence, and like it was a big scrum, and dudes were like
Yeah,
punches were flying, and I looked up like 2 feet away from me on the fence, and Rams fans are like, because it's in Oxnard, they're
yeah,
getting in the fight, dude. Like people are
yes, around
getting over
on the
the
fence.
fence and fighting players. Like it was insane, dude. I'll never forget that. And the other funny thing was like I remember at one point, like in the fight, like turning and seeing Tyron Smith and being like, all right, never mind.
Dude, my buddy Ben Gardner, he was like a seventh round pick DN. Like
Yeah.
he was hurt his whole first year, and he's like the main guy when they were showing the clips on NFL Network. He gets like he's standing there, and then like two Rams guy, one from his front, one from the back, just come and like split
Number
him in half.
70 and
And
number
yeah,
97, dude.
it was yeah,
I got a
yeah,
photographic memory on this shit, bro. 70 was EJ Washington or something was his name. He was from Miami, and he just like totally cheap shotted your boy and like hit
yeah,
him in the back. And then your boy tried to get up, and Gene Sims, who's my buddy, who's a dirtbag, comes
yeah,
up and hits him as well. And yeah, I'll just never forget that one. That was crazy.
yeah.
Funny. That's
Well,
funny
it
to
was
remember that.
crazy.
Fuck. Oh my god, dude. All right, so hard right turn into what's next for you, bro. Like you said, you're happy with the decision and everything, but
Yeah,
I just remember retiring and being like, hey, what's next? You've been doing this your whole life. Like,
yeah.
are you the type that's going to be able to sit around a little bit and catch your breath, or you got to go right back into something?
I hope I'll be able to kind of just chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we're moving, like I said, we're moving up to Indiana, so we're doing that like this summer. So
Yeah.
we got that whole thing going on, and I got young kids. My oldest is starting first grade, so just kind of getting up there and starting kind of our new life, and then figuring it out. I'm gonna have to do something. I mean, I'll go crazy if I'm not doing anything, but I'm hoping for the first, I don't know, year or so I can kind of just chill and maybe help out at a high school or whatever.
Dude, you should. I made the mistake of trying to get right to work.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like you're gonna need to step off the treadmill for a second. So good on you, man. Are you gonna
yeah.
do any Cowboys media stuff? Like if you do media, do you feel weird talking about the Cowboys? Because I always feel weird talking about like the Eagles. It's getting better because
Yeah,
less guys are on the team that I play with. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, I think it'd be hard for me to like talk about the Cowboys just because like I am close to a lot of guys there, and like I don't know. Sometimes I watch people up there talking, and I'm just like,
It's hard.
So, dude. Yeah, it's just hard. I know it's hard, and I don't know if I want to put myself in that position. And so, like right now, no,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll do anything like that.
Yeah.
And
I can't see you shitting on guys and getting it all gratuitous,
yeah,
but it
I
is
think there's a
hard.
fine
Yeah.
line like you can take where um you can do it without feeling like, oh, I know these guys. I'm gonna take a shot at them.
Well, let me give you an opportunity to talk good about a couple of
Yeah.
them. My favorite player, one of my favorite players, was in the same draft class as you, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
I just think, and he's in Seattle now, but he's got to be one of the best run defenders of the
Oh,
decade at his position, and in my opinion, one of the best complete players at his position.
he gets though. I mean, he doesn't always have the sack numbers, so like people don't, you know, people aren't obsessed with him or whatever. But
Yeah,
you're right. Like when you watch the tape, like I would, if you take Crosby out of the mix, I would find it hard to believe you find someone who plays harder than him on a consistent basis. Like the dude just plays. Like if you turn the tape on, he is running to the ball, he is rushing, he's
yeah.
playing the run, he does everything. And he's had years where he's obviously had 16, 17 sacks, but like you said, in the run game, if he's not out there, like you can tell in our run defense, like he's a
Well,
stud.
as you know, sacks aren't everything.
Right.
Disruption is a big part of
Yeah.
it, and so many people eat because of his disruption. And then the other guy, obviously is Micah Parsons. And I got to imagine the first time you saw him rush, like I'll never forget when we first saw Aaron,
Yeah.
and not to put the guys on the same level or whatever, but like we were shocked. Like it took our breath away. Like there's certain guys you like see your team draft and you're like, yeah, he might be pretty good. And then the first day it's like, oh my God, like this guy's
Yeah.
going to be out. Like, do you remember the first Micah Parsons impression?
Well, I remember his first year, he was playing like off the ball linebacker, even in training camp. So, like, yeah, you saw the speed and like the freakiness a little bit. And then it was like week two, we had a bunch of injuries week one, and week two, we played the Chargers.
Right.
And we were down a couple DNs. So, like, we're going to put him at DN for the whole game. And he had like two sacks, like five pressures, and then never kind of came off that spot. And then ever since then, like training camp, especially. Like he's got those Donald qualities where if you're not sliding to him, like he'll just ruin your whole practice. So
Yeah.
we had like for the first time in my career ever, it may have been this way for Aaron too. Like we had like training camp rules
Yeah.
for him, like stuff that we would not use during the season at all, but just so we could have a practice. We're sliding to him no matter what, wherever he's at. We're going to him. We're making sure we got two hats on him so we can like look and have some confidence as an offense when we roll out there week one. But yeah, he does like to your point, like I'm not going to put him in that category yet because, like I said, I think Donald's
The best.
top of the top. But he does kind of have those traits where he can beat you pretty much any way. And for being like a smaller guy, he's only about 240. The power, I mean, you'd be surprised at his power. I mean, he can pick you up and dump you
No
on a
question.
bull
I mean, he's a
rush.
wrestler, right? He grew up
Yeah,
wrestling and all that.
yeah,
And I remember
yeah.
meeting him and not thinking, oh, he's not that big, but like,
And he's not like jacked up. Like he
no,
looks like pretty unassuming when you see him, and then he's
yeah,
just got that fast twitch. I mean, he can go.
no question. No
Yeah.
question. You gonna go on his podcast?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think I think it'd be
That
a
was
pretty
definitely
good
a point. It
combo.
was definitely a point of conversation this
It
year.
was, dude. It was.
No question.
It was a little bit of a point of conversation. I think I'm gonna be honest, I find it refreshing that he just says whatever he thinks.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And like I can tell he loves the game.
yeah,
It's one thing if
yeah,
the guy's not making plays, doesn't love the game, but when he plays his ass off and he makes plays. And when he gets
yeah,
up there, I kind of take it for what it is. It's like he's himself. Everybody's all obsessed with branding now and shit, all this
yeah.
bullshit. At least he's just being himself, is what I see from
He
Trent
is, and then
Dilfer.
unfortunately, it's in Dallas. You just get a little, all those eyes are on you. So if
Yeah,
you say one thing, and then it becomes a thing in the locker room, and then it's becoming. That's just the only thing. But like you said, he is authentic. I'll give him that. Like
yeah,
he is Micah all day, every day.
yeah. It was the Dallas thing. Well, I mean, I'm trying to ask this so you're not put in a position where you got to be like, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
distraction. It becomes a quote or something. But like, I do feel like it had to be a little bit distracting at times. Like things like to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Your facility seemed like it was a zoo. Like, there'd be like a high school game going on or a bunch of people around. Like, and like you said, anything you say is out there.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like I was a little lucky coming from Notre Dame. I had like a little bit of like was exposed to that a little bit. And then coming, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot that goes on in that building, but it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of gotta embrace it and be like, this is our environment, and
Right.
you can't keep using it as an excuse
Well,
because
there's a
it's gonna keep happening. So it's just, I think it's hard for the young guys, especially like the new age of young guys that are so like the social media and like because coaches always the coach talk, don't look at it, don't see it. It's like, dude, you can't. They're gonna see it.
well,
Like,
but then here's what drives me nuts. And I don't know if your coaches ever did this, but like, hey, we don't listen to outside noise the first day of fucking camp. Hey, here's this quote about how y'all
yeah,
aren't
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, right, yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I
We do, yeah.
I totally know what you mean. I mean, and when you say there's shit going on in that building, like, let me tell you from experience, there's shit going on in every building. It's just that,
Right. And that's like, I'm not the best person because, like, I've never been anywhere else, So, like, I will get guys in and you'll hear stories, and it's like, yeah, but like for me, it was just like, this is just my norm for the last 11 years. Like, I just kind of got used
well,
to
it's
it.
like a first class organization. Like if you're, they spare no expense. Whereas like, hey, I've been on teams where our meal in St. Louis, we had PF Chang's one day, we had Italian the next day, and we had Mexican the next day. Those were our in season
Yeah.
meals.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't have a chef. So like, I'll take the distractions and
Well, that's what it is right there. It's give and take. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff that
yeah,
comes with playing with the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of good
no
stuff, So
question.
it's just that give and take.
How about Tyler Smith? Because it was
Yeah.
pretty, like pretty quickly. I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a 10-year guy. Like
Yeah.
he's and funny too, right? There was a quote. I think the quote was Jalen Tolbert sprained his fucking nuts, is what it
Yeah.
said after
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. It was after we beat Pittsburgh.
So
Yeah.
he's a funny guy. He's a good player. Tell me about Tyler a little bit.
Yeah. Like another, like, just like raw freak, like strong as an ox. Like you watch him sometimes, and he may not have like the cleanest technique, but he's just absolutely mauling a dude. Like
Yeah,
he's just he's one of those maulers. And then like I think the most impressive thing from Tyler is that he came in, played left guard as like a raw prospect. Like they definitely drafted him like on, hey, this guy can be this.
yeah,
And then Tyron gets hurt at the end of training camp, and he's been playing left guard as a rookie. And then he starts 17 games at left
that's
tackle.
crazy.
And then the next year comes in and he's a all pro left guard. So, credit to our scout guys because they hit the nail on the head with him as far as position flex, like just attitude guy. Like he's one of those guys that you roll out with an O line you want on your O line. That's like not gonna let anyone fuck with any of the dudes on the O line, and he's gonna be like the enforcer out there. So he's gonna be good, like you said, for the next 10 years there.
How did Jalen sprain his nuts? Do you know?
No, I think he got like hit in the balls like the play before, and then caught the game-winning touchdown. And like in the locker room, he was just like hyped up. He's like, he sprained his nuts and then caught the touchdown.
Bro, that's so funny. And that game was a shit show.
Yeah, it didn't get over to like 1 o'clock that
I
night.
was up watching because didn't y'all have like a lightning delay that night, or
We
was
had a
that
lightning day. We didn't kick off till like 10
dude?
o'clock or
It's
something like
tough
that.
on the fans here, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, I've worked
yeah.
in football. I got
Don't worry
stand
about
lunch as
us
a
like
kid.
going in, stripping all of our pads off, and
Yeah,
being
no,
pissed that we got to go out and re-warm up.
yeah,
I
exactly.
gotta hit hamstring kicks when I
Yeah.
go out there.
The other guy I wanted to ask you about, maybe the last guy was overshown because he was
Yeah,
immediately. I know he's got a bad
yeah.
injury and everything, but like talk to his ceiling because I feel like he can be special.
He's like the prototypical like new age linebacker, like not like the biggest guy, but again, like a dude with like crazy power for
Yeah,
weighing 220, 225, and then he runs like a safety. I mean, he's when he started rolling last year is like when our entire kind of season, we won some games late, and
yeah.
a lot of it was him, his play on defense, making big splash plays, and also just being that consistent in the middle. So he's another guy that he was buddies with Jerry's grandson, and he used to come to training camp. Like my first few years, he was in high school or like grade school with Jerry's grandson, and would come up to training camp
No,
in Oxnard and like be running around. And then 6 or 7 years later, we draft him, and he's like now our franchise linebacker.
that's when you feel old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
when you
true.
feel old. Yeah, he's got, and I was just saying the defense, man. I don't know if he was hurt by the time this game happened. I can't remember, but the way they played Tampa,
Yes.
like when I saw that defense play that night, And those guys in the secondary were headhunting and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this defense can be. I mean, it's got the bones of one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. Like, they have a shot.
Yeah, they absolutely. And I like I don't know, they got Eberflus back. I don't know if you
Yeah,
have spent any time with him, but he was like our linebacker DC my first like 5 years in Dallas.
yeah.
And like he's gonna be great for the defense because he's like a no bullshit, like run to the ball, effort, no loafing. Like it's gonna work really well with the guys we got.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really enjoyed watching you play, and we definitely didn't like, when the guy had to draw the card where he has to line up over Zack Martin. But you should definitely get your flowers, bro. You were unbelievable. It was incredible watching you play, and congrats on a great career, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
yeah.
me on.
Thanks for coming on, dude.